Most people think cancer prevention means avoiding cigarettes, limiting alcohol, and getting annual screenings. And yes, those things matter. But there's a daily habit so powerful that researchers have now linked it to a 20 to 35% reduction in your risk of developing some of the most common cancers, and the majority of Americans over 60 are simply not doing it consistently enough. What's even more striking is that you don't need a gym membership, special equipment, or a personal trainer. This costs nothing. You can start today. And the science behind it is no longer a theory. It's now one of the most well-replicated findings in modern oncology. I'm Dr. James, and this channel is dedicated to bringing you the latest evidence-based health research specifically designed for adults over 60. If you haven't subscribed yet, I'd encourage you to do it now, so you don't miss what we're covering this week and next, because what's coming will change how you think about your daily routine. Now let's get into it. The habit we're talking about is regular moderate physical activity, specifically brisk walking, not marathon running, not gym workouts, walking. And before you think you already know this, stay with me. Because what the research has uncovered about the biological mechanisms involved goes far deeper than anything most doctors explain in a 15-minute appointment. A landmark analysis published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine examined data from over 1.4 million adults across multiple countries and found that people who met the recommended 150 minutes of moderate activity per week had a statistically significant reduction in risk for 13 different cancers. 13. That's not one or two. That's breast cancer, colon cancer, kidney cancer, stomach cancer, esophageal cancer, liver cancer, and more. And the people in that study weren't athletes. They were ordinary adults, doing something as simple as walking briskly for about 22 minutes a day. So why does walking cut cancer risk? The answer isn't vague. The science is specific. Your body has three primary pathways through which regular walking protects you, and understanding them changes everything about how you see that daily walk. The first pathway is inflammation control. Chronic low-grade inflammation is now considered one of the leading drivers of cancer development. When inflammatory proteins called cytokines, particularly one called interleukin-6, stay elevated in your blood over months and years, they create an environment where abnormal cells can survive and multiply when they otherwise wouldn't. A 2021 study from the University of California found that just 20 minutes of moderate walking was enough to reduce circulating inflammatory markers by a measurable amount. Regular walkers showed consistently lower baseline levels of these inflammatory proteins compared to sedentary adults. Think of it like this. Inflammation is the kindling that helps cancer start a fire. Walking is like keeping that kindling damp. The second pathway involves your hormones, particularly insulin and estrogen. Elevated insulin levels, which often accompany a sedentary lifestyle and blood sugar imbalances, directly stimulate the growth of certain cancer cells. Research published in the Journal of the National Cancer Institute demonstrated that postmenopausal women with higher insulin resistance had significantly elevated breast and endometrial cancer risk. Regular walking improves insulin sensitivity, which means your cells respond to insulin more efficiently and your body doesn't need to pump out as much of it. Lower circulating insulin equals a less cancer-friendly environment in your body. This is not a minor effect. We're talking about meaningful hormonal shifts that happen when you walk consistently over weeks and months. Have you been walking regularly but never thought of it as cancer prevention? Comment below and let me know. I want to know how many of you are already doing this without realizing how powerful it is. The third pathway is immune surveillance. Your immune system has specialized cells called natural killer cells, NK cells, and their job is to patrol your body and destroy abnormal cells before they develop into tumors. This happens every single day inside you. The question is how effectively. Research from the Karolinska Institute in Sweden found that regular moderate exercise significantly increased the activity and circulation of these natural killer cells. Sedentary adults, by contrast, showed reduced NK cell function over time. Your immune system's ability to catch and destroy early cancer cells literally depends in part on how much you move your body each day. This is your built-in cancer surveillance system. Walking keeps it sharp. Let me tell you about Margaret, a 71-year-old retired schoolteacher from Ohio. She came into our clinic with arthritis in both knees, and had been largely sedentary for several years after a knee replacement. Her lab work showed elevated CRP, that's C-reactive protein, a key inflammation marker, and her doctor had already expressed concern about her metabolic health. Her daughter had been diagnosed with breast cancer at 58, which put Margaret in a higher risk category. We started her on a gentle walking protocol. Nothing dramatic, just 10 minutes after breakfast, 10 minutes after dinner. We slowly increased it over 12 weeks. At her 6-month follow-up, her CRP had dropped from 4.2 to 1.8 milligrams per liter. Her fasting insulin dropped 22%, and perhaps most importantly, she described sleeping better, feeling more energetic, and experiencing less joint pain. Not more. That's the paradox of movement. Gentle, consistent motion actually reduces arthritis pain over time rather than worsening it. Now here's what shocked me the most when I dove deep into the research on this topic. The dose matters, but not in the way most people assume. You might think more is always better. Longer walks, faster pace, more effort. But the data tells a different story. A study from JAMA Internal Medicine found that the most dramatic reduction in cancer risk occurred when sedentary individuals simply moved from doing nothing to doing 150 minutes of moderate activity per week. That's the biggest leap. Going from 150 minutes to 300 minutes per week added some additional benefit. But the jump from 0 to moderate activity is where you get the most dramatic cancer risk reduction. If you are currently doing little to nothing, even 15 minutes of walking a day will begin shifting your biology in a protective direction within weeks. Here's something else most people miss. The benefits are not canceled out if you also sit a lot. Research from the American Cancer Society's behavioral risk factor surveillance data confirmed that even among adults who sat for more than 6 hours a day at work or home, those who also walked regularly had significantly lower cancer risk than those who sat equally and didn't walk. You don't need to transform your entire lifestyle overnight. Add the walking. That alone creates meaningful protection. A 2022 meta-analysis published in Preventive Medicine, which reviewed 23 separate studies on colon cancer specifically, found that the most physically active individuals had a 24% lower risk of developing colon cancer compared to the least active. For breast cancer, the corresponding number was around 20%. For kidney cancer, some studies show risk reductions closer to 30%. These are not small numbers. We're talking about meaningful shifts in cancer probability simply from how much you move each day. Let me walk you through exactly what to do, because specificity matters. Start with a baseline of 10 to 15 minutes of brisk walking once a day. Brisk means you're walking fast enough that holding a full conversation requires a bit of effort. You can talk, but you feel it. Do this every single day for the first 2 weeks. Your body needs to adapt. Joints, muscles, and cardiovascular systems all need gradual conditioning, particularly after 60. Week 3 and 4. Increase to 20 to 25 minutes once daily or 2 12-minute walks. 1 in the morning after breakfast, 1 in the evening after dinner. The post-meal walk carries an added bonus. It helps regulate blood glucose spikes, which directly targets that insulin pathway we discussed earlier. Your goal over the course of 6 to 8 weeks is to reach 30 minutes of brisk walking on most days of the week, ideally 5 to 6 days. This meets and slightly exceeds the 150-minute weekly target identified in the research. You do not need to do it all at once. 3 10-minute walks throughout the day produces similar metabolic benefits to 1 30-minute continuous walk, according to research from the University of Texas. Wear supportive walking shoes, not running shoes, not casual sneakers. Walking shoes have different cushioning and provide better heel support. If joint pain has been a barrier, consider beginning on softer surfaces, grass, a track, or a treadmill. Concrete and pavement are harder on aging joints. One caution worth mentioning: if you've been sedentary for more than 6 months, have a history of heart disease, or are managing any condition that affects your cardiovascular system, please speak with your doctor before significantly increasing your activity level. This is not just a legal disclaimer. It's genuinely important. A simple clearance conversation takes 5 minutes and ensures you're starting safely. Most doctors will enthusiastically support this plan. They simply want to know about it first. Track your minutes, not your miles. It removes complexity. A cheap pedometer or a simple note on your phone that says, "Walked 22 minutes today," is enough. Tracking creates accountability and helps you see your progress clearly. Many seniors find that once they start seeing their numbers consistently go up, the habit becomes self-reinforcing. Edmund, 68 years old, had been a smoker for 30 years before quitting at 58. His doctors had been monitoring him carefully given the elevated cancer risk that comes with a long smoking history. When he started a daily walking program, initially just parking farther from the grocery store and taking stairs, something unexpected happened. Within 4 months, he was walking 35 minutes daily without thinking about it. His follow-up blood work showed improved inflammation markers and better insulin response. His pulmonologist noted improved lung function scores. He told us that walking had become less of a health task and more of his favorite part of the day. Biology follows behavior. The bottom line is this: daily brisk walking is one of the most evidence-backed cancer prevention strategies available to you right now. It controls inflammation, improves insulin sensitivity, activates immune surveillance, and does all of this for free every single day without a prescription or a side effect list. If you're going to start this week, comment below with the word walking so I know you're committing to it. If you're already doing this regularly, comment how long your typical walk is. I genuinely want to see how many people in this community are already protecting themselves this way. And if you know someone in your life who needs to hear this, share this video with them today. This information is too important to keep to yourself. If this kind of evidence-based health content is valuable to you, subscribe to this channel. Next week, I'm covering the specific foods that have been shown in clinical research to work alongside regular walking to further reduce cancer risk. And one of them will genuinely surprise you. I'm Dr. James. Your health is worth the investment. I'll see you in the next video.